How's it going, everyone? This is the Anime Man. So a few days ago, I covered a few strange and unexplained English anime title translations, which I wasn't really happy about for one reason or another, and at the end of that video, I said that English wasn't the only culprit in this instance. And since last video I covered English titles from Japanese, I thought this time we would cover the other way. Because believe me, when translating English to Japanese, sometimes a lot of things are lost in translation. And this especially happens with a lot of Hollywood movies, as it goes without saying, the titles are English and most of the time they need to be translated into Japanese, either because the title doesn't make sense to Japanese viewers, or the title is very English, as you will kind of figure out as I give you this list. And there were so many funny translations that I could have shown you guys, but I've picked out 10 of what I believe to be some of the weirdest, unexplained, and just what the fuck Japanese Hollywood translations. Let's start off with a classic film, Napoleon Dynamite. Now you'd think that the Japanese translation is just a simple matter of grabbing the name Napoleon Dynamite and perhaps just changing it into katakana, so it'd be something like Napoleon Dynamite. Because the word Napoleon and dynamite is also said in Japan. Napoleon concerning the actual historical figure or the type of pasta, and dynamite being dynamite. But no, the Japanese Hollywood title for the movie Napoleon Dynamite is, you'll never guess it, Busman. I wish I could make this stuff up. Okay, hold up, let's break it down quickly. First of all, the series has nothing to do with a bus. Sure, there's a man, Napoleon, he's, I guess, a man, but he's not a busman, nor is he correlated to buses in any way. There is an interesting theory, actually, that the reason why they might have named this movie Busman is because at the time of Napoleon Dynamite's release, there was a very famous and well-regarded Japanese movie called Train Man. But still, that has nothing to do with Napoleon Dynamite, and I don't know how Napoleon Dynamite and Train Man would correlate in any way. Now let's go over to Pixar. Up. This is another awesome animated movie that definitely made me cry in that first 5 minutes. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, the title Up is very, very simple, and Up can easily be said in Japanese, Up. But the official Japanese title for the movie Up is Grandpa Carl's Flying House. Okay, look, I can understand why they called it this, Grandpa Carl's Flying House. It's about Grandpa Carl and his flying house. Makes a lot of sense in a synopsis standpoint, but it doesn't really have the same ring or tone or catchiness as Up did. Now let's move over to the horror genre, Final Destination, or specifically Final Destination 3. You think Final Destination is easy to say, or you know, makes a whole lot of sense concerning titles, but no, the Japanese had to rename it to the official Japanese title, Final Dead Coaster. Two things I love about this Japanese title. One is that they had to put the word coaster, as in like a roller coaster, since there is a roller coaster on the cover. You don't have to do that, guys. You don't have to, the title doesn't have to correlate with the cover all the time. And the second point that I really love is that it's called a dead coaster, not a death coaster, a dead coaster. I'm guessing they had to use the word dead instead of death because dead is much easier to understand for the Japanese than death. I don't know, either way, I think it's fucking stupid. They should have just kept it with Final Destination. Now let's move over from the horror to the romance, or as what a lot of people like to call romance, I like to call an absolute piece of shit movie, Twilight. Call it romance, call it a piece of shit, it's up to you really. But if you love the Twilight movie, then after you hear the Japanese title of Twilight, you probably won't be able to take it seriously. The Japanese title for Twilight is Twilight, Puppy Love. Where are the puppies? Why is it called puppy love? It just brings the there's no bestiality in this movie, bruh. There's a lot of awkward romance, that's for sure, but by putting the subtext puppy love, didn't make it any less awkward. It probably made it even more awkward to watch. Why not just keep it at Twilight? You had Twilight. Why did you have to put the subtext puppy love? Puppy love? What the fuck is puppy love? Now, away from the shitty movies and onto a more classic, Jersey Girl. Now, Jersey Girl, again, another very catchy and short movie title that a lot of people do recognize. But no, the Japanese had to go out and make it literal. The official Japanese title for Jersey Girl is I Love My Dad the Best in the World. What? I think this title was made by the same people who came up with the title My Sister Can't Be This Cute, because it kind of has the same vibe at this current moment. I think the Japanese have a problem with making short, catchy titles where the title is open to interpretation. Like Jersey Girl. It really could be anything, but you kind of have a good idea of what the movie might be about, or if you don't have a good idea of what the movie is, then you can flip over to the back and read the synopsis. But no, with the Japanese, apparently the whole synopsis of the movie needs to be in the title. I think this is very similar to the fact that a lot of light novel series in Japan have really long titles. In fact, I did a video covering about why that may be. You can check that out if you want cross-promotion for the win. Let's move on to another classic, Being John Malkovich. This one is another great movie. I absolutely love it. But apparently they couldn't have just kept it with Being John Malkovich and instead changed it to The Whole of Malkovich. Which hole? I don't want to know. Now this one I absolutely love. Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious, such a catchy name, and it really brings out the whole, you know, driving feeling and like intensity that is of the movie, right? Eat Your Heart Out. The Japanese have got a way better title that probably brings out the adrenaline even more. And that title is Wild Speed Max. If that's not a title that'll put hair on your balls, then I don't know what will. Wild Speed Max. That's so intense. Holy shit. I think the title is more intense than the actual movie. Shots fired. Let's go on to another animated movie, Despicable Me. I wasn't a big fan of the Despicable Me movie, to be honest, but I think I like it now that I've heard the official Japanese title for it. And that title is Mysterious Thief Gru's Moon Theft 3D. That's right, even the 2D versions have the word 3D in them. Is it because the models are 3D, like they're 3D figures and not just 2D drawings? I don't fucking know. But it definitely doesn't roll off the tongue like Despicable Me did, that's for sure. Let's move on to a real classic right here, Army of Darkness. If you guys don't know, this is the third movie in the Evil Dead franchise. Army of Darkness, that sounds so sick and grueling, and it's like, oh, when you look at the title and the cover, it's just like, whoa, that is absolutely fucking intense horror movie. And I guess the Japanese saw that, you know, Ash from the Evil Dead must be a hero. So they decided to name the movie Captain Supermarket. Fuck you. Captain Supermarket just sounds like the worst fucking superhero ever. It's like those street superheroes that you see in the corner of like a news program. Captain Supermarket helps pick up the groceries of an old lady who just fell over. That's the Captain Supermarket I think of, not this badass dude who fights the evil Army of Darkness. And the last, but certainly not least, Karate Kid. Now, I thought they couldn't have changed Karate Kid. There was no way they could have changed Karate Kid. Because, you know, it has like that Asian culture to it. No, apparently the Japanese didn't like the word karate, even though it's their own word, and decided to call it Best Kid. Best Kid. Karate is a Japanese word. Kid is easy to say. Why Best Kid? I mean, sure, the Karate Kid ends up being the best kid. But why not just Karate Kid? Like, I mean, you like to put the synopsis in the title. Karate Kid was a fine title. Like, it's about a kid who does karate. But no, apparently that wasn't enough. They had to pretty much give the ending of the movie and make sure to tell the viewers that he's not just the Karate Kid, he's the best kid, because he ends up being the fucking best. So there you go, guys. I kind of lost my shit by the end of it because all these translations were just so fucking ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, these are just 10 out of the hundreds, literal hundreds of terrible translations that I saw while I was researching these titles. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite Japanese translation in this video? And what was your favorite Japanese translation of all time, if you have any more that I missed? Anyways guys, thanks for watching. As always, like and favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more anime banner, and I'll see you guys next video, whatever I make. Keep watching anime. Ciao!